everybody. I am Lori from Country Comforts. For those of you who don't know me, I own a small shop in Washington Township, Michigan. And today we are going to be playing with a couple of Artisan Enhancements products. So we're going to be using the Crackle Tax, Artisan Enhancements Crackle Tax, and Artisan Enhancements Fine Stone. Can you see? Okay. So what we're going to be doing really quick is we're going to be taking these $3 pumpkins that I purchased at Target, and we're going to be altering them. So I'm going to walk you through how I do it. And unfortunately, I don't have a finished product yet, but I will, hopefully by the end of this video. Okay, so we're going to, let me back up a little bit and just say, for those of you who do not know me, aside from owning the little store, I love rusty crusty, and my mantra is always perfectly imperfect. So I truly believe that nothing is meant to be perfect, especially when we're handcrafting it. So don't get too caught up in all the little details and making sure everything is just perfect, because that is not how the world is today. No one is perfect, and nothing we have out there is perfect. So just go for it. Have a lot of fun, because that's what it's all about. Creativity is all about just having fun and letting your imagination take hold. So what I started off with, like I said, was these $3 little pumpkins that I picked up at Target. And I gave them 2 coats of paint. I used Annie Sloan chalk paint. This color is French linen. And then I also based one in graphite, which is the one we're going to be doing our finishing touches on. So the graphite one, you can see, has already started to crack. And we're going to do a little painting on that and a little bit of blending. But first, what we need to do is we need to put our coat of Crackle Tax on. So I just use a inexpensive little chip brush. These brushes are called chip brushes. And I just throw on a coat of Crackle Tax. Now what Crackle Tax does is it's going to actually crack the plaster, the fine stone plaster that I'm going to put on. And then when I paint it, it's going to also crack the paint. So that leads to your rusty and your, well, maybe not so much rusty. We'll add a little bit of rust to it, but it adds to that aged patina that I've been around for a million years look, as opposed to a brand new green pumpkin from our local Target here. So I'm literally just slapping this on. If you were doing it on a piece of furniture, you would want to be a little bit more careful with it, just because you don't want to get any drips. But because this is a pumpkin, we're not going to worry so much about drips. So what I do is I just throw on a nice thin coat. Sometimes it's thicker in areas, and that's okay too. Don't worry about it. Like I said, don't worry about being perfect. This is just supposed to be fun. This would be a great project to do with your little kidlets too, because Artisan Enhancements is all water-based, so it cleans up really easily. And I'm just going to give it a nice little coat of the Crackle Tax. So you can see it's all on there. And then you want to let it dry. If you're impatient like me, you can go ahead and blow dry it. It doesn't seem to affect the product at all. I blow dry my projects all the time. But because I hate the noise of a blow dryer on a video, we're not going to blow dry that one. I already have one that I did earlier that has the Crackle Text on it, the Crackle Text medium, and it's already dry. So we're going to go ahead and fine stone this one. If you look closely, I think you can kind of see some brush strokes of where the Crackle Text is. You just want to make sure that it's good and dry before you start putting any fine stone or any other plaster on it. So one of my favorite projects or products is A, the Crackle Text, and B, I love the fine stone. And the reason, fine stone and VP Antico probably are my 2 go-to. The reason that I love them so much is because they're a plaster and they crack beautifully with the Crackle text. And they help add those layers of age and patina. So me being me and loving that old look, they work great for me. I use them on furniture, I use them on bottles, you name it, I've used it. I've done lunch pails, trunks. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I've done a lot with it. So we're going to just add some of our fine stone. Now, you can apply the fine stone a couple of different ways. You can, again, I'm just using an inexpensive chip brush. Sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place. That's just kind of how my videos always go. I bounce all over and I just chit chat like you're standing right here with me. And I also lose my train of thought, which happens too. Anyway, I use an inexpensive chip brush. Like I said, these clean up with just a little bit of soap and water, and they clean up beautifully. They're all water-based products, so if you have a different brush, go ahead and use it. I just don't use a really expensive brush with it. Anyways, okay, so here's my pumpkin, and here's the fine stone. I'm using fine stone because it has little granules in it, and it's a plaster still, but I want my pumpkins to feel, have a little bit more texture to them. So that's why I opted for the fine stone. And then I just brush it on. And again, I do not worry if I'm getting a nice solid coat because I like to paint over them. Whoops, lost my train of thought. Told you that's what I do. Now, if you like the way that looks with just the white over the French linen or whatever color you opt for, you could be done at that. You don't have to do any more. I would do a Topcoat sealer on it, or a clear finish, Artisan Enhancements, but you can stop at this point too if you want. I'm going to add a little bit of color because that's what I like to do, is add color. And I'm just going to go around the pumpkin. So you can see I'm just brushing it on. Other options are you can pounce it on. Pouncing will give you a lot more texture. So you can pounce it on in certain areas to get more texture in those areas. I feel like these pumpkins are a little bit smaller. So I feel like the texture I'm going to get just from brushing them on would be enough. But hey, let's go ahead and do some pouncing. I got to put this down though. It's going to... So see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of pouncing it on there. So I'm getting some hills and valleys. And again, you know what, you guys? If you miss a spot like I missed right here, that's okay because you want to see the underlying color a little bit anyway. And then we're just going to go ahead and pounce on. I'm showing you the bottom of the pumpkin as opposed to what I'm doing. Okay. Enough of that. You get the gist of it, right? We're just going to start going ahead and painting the one I already have done and ready to go. But easy peasy. You can paint this at this point after the fine stone dries. You can go ahead and paint it. Or if you like the way it looks as is, you can just use the Artisan Enhancements Clear Topcoat Sealer, not on white, which is an interior exterior grade product. Or you can use the clear finish. So if my pieces are not going outside, I tend to opt for the clear finish, just because, I don't know, that's what I use. I don't know why, I just do. Probably because I paint with white a lot. Okay, so I just want to really quickly show you this again. This is the Crackle stone. Can you see it? Really good. This is the Crackle stone already that's been cracked. So this is already drying. You can blow dry this. I'll let you in on a secret. I already blow dried this one. That's how come we got going here, or we're able to have one to get going. So I'm babbling. If you ever watch me on my page, I always say I have menopause brain, so my thoughts sometimes just go away. Anyways, we're going to throw some paint on this. Now this one I do want to have a little bit of white in there, and then I'm going to put some black on the bottom, and I think I'm going to add a hint of orange into it. So I'm just going to grab my paint, And again, you know, you can use any paint. Latex is not recommended, but you can use any paint. I'm an Annie Sloan girl. I love Annie Sloan paint, so we're just gonna throw some white on. What I like to do is when I'm blending, I like to go into the top, start at the top, and pull my color down. So I am just using white here, but I promise I'm gonna add a little bit of color in there, and then I'm gonna finish her up, and I will make sure pictures become available so you guys can see them. And believe it or not, this is super cute. Super duper cute. I'm just going to use a little bit of graphite along the bottom. I am going to paint the bottom of these, you guys, but I don't worry about putting Crackle text on them or cracking them with fine stone because it's the bottom. They're going to sit on something anyways. But I'm just going to take a little bit. Again, I'm just using an inexpensive chip brush of graphite. And I'm just going to put it along the bottom. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I kind of want to have like a pumpkin that looks like it's been sitting in a pumpkin patch. So I don't want it to be perfectly white all over. So then all I'm doing now, you guys, is I'm going to hold this like this. I'm just blending. So I'm just pulling the graphite up into the wet white. And I'm just blending it. Look at it, it's already stinking cute. See that? So just blending into, I don't even know if you can see it with this lighting in here. I guess I didn't plan this very well. I'm just blending the graphite into the old white. You can add a little more of the white if you feel like you need to. Just blend that back in. See what I'm doing? I'm just blending it back in. But I also want to add just a hint of the Barcelona or a little bit of orange. And I just want a hint. I'm not a big orange girl, even though I like rust. I'm not much of a bright color, I guess as you could say. So I don't want a lot. Like I would never, like this is just me personally, but I wouldn't put an orange pumpkin at my house. Like my house has all the white pumpkins and the Cinderella pumpkins that are soft in color. I just don't use a lot of orange. I'm not an orange fan. So I'm just gonna sprinkle just a little bit of orange in here along the top. And it's gonna fade so slightly. Can you see how slight that's fading? And then what will happen is as this dries, the Crackle text is gonna dry the paint choice also. See how pretty that is? Okay. And maybe just a hint along the bottom. And it's a little bit more than what I wanted. So I'm gonna take another brush and I'm just going to blend it. Again, too much, so I'm gonna add a little bit of white in there. Little bit of white to blend them. Because I guess I'm kind of going for more of the Cinderella pumpkins. You guys know what I'm talking about? They're orange, but they're more like a peachy orange. They're not as bright. And I love that. Love those. I think they're super pretty. And there you have it. Whoops. Let's see. Let's see, the lighting is awful. Can you see just hints of it? Hints of the orange in there. Hints of the graphite. And then what we'll do is I will take some pictures of the finished pumpkin. What I'm going to do after all this dries and I get them all done, I'm going to clear finish them with Artisan Enhancements and then page. But I'm going to finish this up and then I will make sure that pictures get to you guys. All right. So thank you for joining me. You guys have a wonderful day, and don't forget to go create something fun, and don't worry about being perfect. Talk to you soon, and have a great day.